Kaelen's life before the incident was unremarkable, defined by a quiet desperation and a fascination with the occult. One rain-swept evening, fueled by cheap wine and a morbid curiosity, he and a few friends gathered around an antique Ouija board. The plan was a harmless thrill, a cheap scare. But as the planchette twitched and spun, it wasn't a playful ghost that answered their call. It was Xylos, an entity from a plane utterly divorced from human comprehension, a being of pure, raw, cosmic energy. Xylos, sensing Kaelen's latent yearning for something more, saw an opportunity, not to help, but to sow chaos. In a blinding flash of emerald light and a chorus of whispers that tore at the very fabric of his sanity, Kaelen was imbued with power. He could warp reality with a thought, conjure elements from thin air, and perceive the past and future in fractured, agonizing glimpses. He was a god amongst mortals, able to fulfill every whim, every desire. But the gift was a curse. Xylos hadn't merely granted power, it had fused itself to Kaelen's very soul. Now every act of power, no matter how trivial, incurs a devastating toll. It manifests as a creeping decay, not of his body, but of his memories, his emotions, his very sense of self. Each manipulation of reality chips away at who Kaelen is. A simple levitation might cost him the memory of his mother's face. A surge of fire to protect himself might erase the concept of love from his mind. The curse is insidious. It's not a sudden, dramatic loss, but a slow, agonizing erosion. He finds himself forgetting names, faces, significant events, and eventually the meaning of fundamental human experiences. Laughter becomes a foreign concept, grief a distant echo. He remembers the fact of his power, but the reason for using it, the joy or anger or fear that once motivated him, is gradually stripped away. Kaelen is locked in a desperate race against time and oblivion. He uses his diminishing memories to desperately seek a way to sever the connection with Xylos, to reverse the curse before he becomes an empty vessel of immense power, a husk devoid of humanity, controlled by the silent, malevolent will of the entity that granted him his gift. He is a walking paradox, a being of limitless potential crumbling from within, forever haunted by the fading echoes of a life he can no longer truly grasp.